Hey everybody, and welcome back to Unbox Analysis. Today, we're taking a step back a little bit. We're going to go over some game emulators. I have 4 handhelds, 1 TV mount, or projector mount. We'll get to that a bit later. These ones are all from Amazon. The highest price is $108 from this one, and they go down to about $39. Now, if you get them on sale, you can get them a little bit cheaper. But for today, I'm going to put the most recent prices up here in the top like usual. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the smallest one first and go from there. First up, we have the CHX40P Retro Pro Family Pocket. Now this one has the lowest count of games out of all of them. They boast around 380 games. There was a couple different listings I saw, give or take 10 games. But I got this one because of the look. Look at this guy. All right, let's set that off to the side, see what we got in the box real quick. First up, we have the handheld manual. Inside the manual, you got some basics, tell you which buttons do what. It also says there's an HDTV signal out. Also inside, we have a micro USB cable. Looks like a couple feet long. Then we have the 2.5 millimeter jack for video and audio out. These are pretty similar setups here to the ones we ordered from Temu. If you didn't see that video, I'll put it up here. Go check it out. Pretty good video. Along with the Temu ones, difference is these ones are all mostly quite a bit more. Some of the bigger ones from Temu did run around $30-ish. But considering the TV one we have over here runs for a little over $100, I can't wait to see how well it stacks up. Jumping back into the Family Pocket, the CHX40P Retro. Let's go around back. Looks like we've got a big panel to open. Inside the panel is a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. Looks pretty identical size to the one we saw most recently in the smaller handhelds. Now, another cool thing I noticed, you ever have a problem with this little guy, it looks like it actually has a backup spot for 3 AAA batteries. That is not something I've seen in any of the other handhelds. So it is multi-power possible. We're going to move over to the side here. Looks like we have a volume rocker, a button here, an on and off switch here. Up top, you have your micro USB, you have your video out port, you have a left and right bumper button. I don't know, those don't feel very good. I almost hope those are fake buttons because I don't feel any click there. All right, then on top, you have the D-pad, select, start, B, B, A, A, B, and A. I'm guessing these two are faster speed. Let's turn it on and check it out. So right off the bat, we have Family Pocket 348 Super Game. Let's go ahead and push start. Turn down the volume so it's not drowning you guys out here. One quick thing to note, sliding the volume knob up turns it down a little bit backwards. So the interface here is pretty simple. It says 348 in 1. So it looks like it's just going to be scroll through. Again, when we went over all these before, we noticed that price dependent, usually the higher prices had a much better menu system allowing you to navigate through these a lot better. I'm noticing that this one is literally just a scroll through. The possibly fake jumpers don't appear to do anything, but if you click right and left, it allows you to move forward or back 7 at a time. Let's dig over and find us a game I might recognize here. Just give it a quick shot to test out. So far, I'm not recognizing too many of these games in here, but I'll try to do a zoom in and click through a couple of these. If anybody recognizes any, let me know. All right, so unlike the ones we saw from Temu, I didn't see any of the Marios or any of that. So I'm not entirely sure what systems these games are actually from. So we'll just try out this one called Aladdin 3 and see where it goes. Looks about what you would expect. Again, I'm not familiar with this game graphics-wise. It looks very akin to regular Nintendo. If anybody here recognizes this game here, let me know what that's from. Now, moving right along, we had two that were two very similar looking consoles, but two very different looking listings. So let's go ahead and check this one out. So up here is the price as normal. Inside, pretty similar as the last one. You have your video out, except for this time it's a 3.5 millimeter jack, and you have stereo audio out with the white and red there. And instead of micro USB, we have mini B. There we go. And a pair of included headphones. I will be honest, don't be excited about the headphones. I can tell you that without putting them in. All right, so looking at the console, very obviously a PSP type clone system here. It does say 8 GB on the back, TV out, on off. Honestly, this looks almost identical to some of the ones we've reviewed in the past. It feels very, very similar. It does say X6. I don't believe the last one said that. Boxes are also fairly similar. So up top, you have a headphone port, charging port, video out port, on and off, left and right buttons here. The buttons do feel nice. D-pad feels a little mushy, but those bumpers, they feel really good. Then you have your little joystick here on the left side. Also feels pretty good, doesn't seem to get stuck anywhere. So let's go ahead and power it on and check it out. All right, it does appear that this one did not come charged, and since I like to try to open these on video, we're gonna let it sit over here and charge for a minute, and we'll jump into the one that looks just like it and see if they're as identical as I think they are. All right, inside the box, brief owner's manual. Different colored headphones, but they appear to be the same basic quality. All right, so kind of as expected, being two different prices from two different listings, these are absolutely identical in every way that I can see. Overall, these seem exactly identical. Let's give a quick box comparison here. So you notice on the side of the boxes here, one shows blue, one shows black. They have different little symbols in them, but mostly the same. Like you check out all these little symbols here. And if we flip it over to the back, spec-wise, they are basically identical. Two different listings, same exact console. So either way, if this is charged, let's give it a test. All right, this one is charged. Let's go ahead and get that peel off of there. So that is one difference. The other screen did not come with a peel on it at all. All right, so starting up. Yep, this looks very similar to the menu from the Temu one. I need to come check the prices. I'm gonna throw the price of the Temu one up here and the price of this one up right here. The Temu one may be discontinued. I noticed a lot of those old ones when I would make the lists and stuff. I would get a lot of comments saying that the items are discontinued. That just seems to be a theme with Temu there. So this one is a Japanese version of Super Mario. Not entirely sure what that is. So we'll just give it a shot, see how it runs. Now I did notice in a lot of those older game systems or those cheaper emulators, the actual run speeds seemed a little off. This seems a little more akin to the actual run speeds from the original Mario. I don't exactly know how much this one's supposed to compare. But overall, it does have a whole bunch of games, and if you're just looking for something to entertain the kids or a little bit of a nostalgia boost, not a bad deal. I do believe the Temu ones, if still available, are cheaper. But overall, in the end, it really just depends on what you want to do. Some people really hate the idea of emulated games, and I get that. But if you already own the games and your old system, you don't want to get it out because it's a collector's item at this point, maybe check them out. So overall, decent fit and finish, nice little unit. We have the super cheap one, the cheapish one, and the slightly less cheap one. I mean, this thing is super neat. Quality-wise, pretty average. You know, I mean, it feels nice in the hand, but it only has a few games, stuff like that. What I was really interested in trying out today are mostly some of the higher end ones. These are more comparison. I really want to see how these things stacked up to the ones from Temu. Best guess, exact same company's making them. No surprise there. So this one here, this is called the model number X51. This one comes a little bit higher, price up here. This one also includes a 64 gigabyte memory card, apparently with all of the games on it. So first thing we're going to notice out of the box here, it is charged with a USB Type-C. Love to see it. Usually shows a slightly higher quality product, if you will. An instruction manual. Okay, that's all we have in the box. No included headphones, which considering the quality of the headphones, I'm okay with. Okay. First impressions of the unit, definitely kind of a Switch design. Like clearly they took a lot of liberties from that. It's got some nice rubber pads on the back here. You have a volume roller on the side. You have left triggers and bumpers. Up top, you have a USB port, micro SD port, a mini HDMI out port, an OTG cable, which is your charging cable, and then another USB. It says USB 2. Not entirely sure what those are for, but we'll try to check it out. Up top, you have your two joysticks, A, B, Y, X, select start, a reset button, and then a D-pad. And over here on the right, looks like you have a hard reset and a power button, so let's power it on. Right at the start here, I'm noticing this menu looks kind of similar. Starting out here, your right button and left button will cycle through your different types. This has one of the nicer setups here overall, because if you'll notice, it's a lot easier to find different files. Looks like you can set favorites, you can search. Not touchscreen, not a huge surprise there. And then you can also upload game, music, photos, and videos directly to the system to use this kind of like a handheld entertainment system. Put a couple shows on it or whatnot. It's just a cheap little way to save some battery life on your phone and have something else to play games on. Kind of a neat idea. All right, jumping into the type, let's go ahead. Let's check out some of the PlayStation games. So apparently these are all PlayStation 1 games. Let's check out Need for Speed Hot Pursuit and see how well it runs right after we get this right here. Sound overall seems pretty decent. I mean, for what it is, it's not any kind of high quality sound, so don't expect that. But it's clear enough for what it is.
3, 2, 1, go!
Gameplay overall is not bad. Click this little bottom left reset button. It allows you to save games, save progress. You can change some settings. We're going to go ahead and exit and just check out a couple more options up in here. It also has a history, which actually has 4 games in it, and I just got it. So maybe they have those automatically set in. All right, let's check out some Game Boy Advance games, see what we got in here. Looks like for regular Nintendo, they have over 1,300 games just for regular Nintendo. Unfortunately, it's not the easiest thing in the world for me to grab a list, so I'm not going to be able to add that one. Sorry, guys. Let's test out the search function. This is one people always seem to ask. Let's see what it's got for Pokemon. All right, ran into our first issue with this one. The search function does not appear to be working. There's a chance I'm using it wrong, but I tried quite a bit here, and it is not allowing me to really search much of anything. Anything I search just kind of comes up blank. For the price of this one, yeah, it's nice that it has a couple extra menus in it, but I'd probably save your money. If you wanted just something cheap for your drive or for whatnot, yeah, it's got a bigger screen and looks a little fancier, but price-wise, I think I'd have to skip the X51. If you guys have tried something like this, let me know what you had your experience was with it, if you had any issues with search. I do know there's a slightly newer version that came out right after I ordered this one. Huh. But yeah, I mean, overall, it plays games just fine. It's just a real bummer the search function doesn't work. That's kind of a big thing. It makes it a lot easier when you're searching through thousands of games. Not entirely sure what I'd recommend out of all of these so far. Really, I guess it comes down to your use case. So let's jump into our next item here. Then we're going to get to the expensive one, the $100 game console. So a couple weeks ago, this company, HomePow, sent over this projector. They're like, hey, check it out. Let me know what you think. Try it out with some stuff. So let's try it out together. We're just going to do an unboxing of this. We're going to check it out. I guess the cool part about this projector is this is a projector that is very often on sale for less than $70. And it's a 1080p projector. So you have my attention. The only projector that I own was around $700. That was a few years ago. But it's also only 1080p. So I'm very curious to see how this one compares. It does say it's an LED projector instead of a bulb projector. All right, we'll set that to the side. With attachments, you have a power cable, HDMI cable, appears to be a splitter input, so this will help us test some of our consoles on it. And then you have a controller and a little lens cleaner and a knob for adjustment. I'm guessing this will go in the back to help you level it depending on where it's sitting. First thoughts on the projector is honestly it looks a bit better than I expected. It looks very similar to my pretty expensive one from a few years back. On the back we have AV input, headphone input, HDMI, 2 USBs, and what appears to be an IR sensor. So this is going to be an IR remote, so you're going to be meant to be behind it while controlling it. On the bottom here we have some kind of port. I don't know what it is, so let's take a peek. Oh, okay. Looks like this is a place you open up if you get dust on your lenses, like your refractive lenses on the inside, you can clean them out in here. So for now, I'm going to keep that closed. So on the bottom right here, you'll notice you have a mount. That is for mounting this to an overhead most likely. And if you're mounting it on a table like I will be trying out, put this little screw in there, and then it helps you get the proper angle you need to use it. So we're going to get this set up on the opposite wall, and we'll see what it looks like. Looking at the screen here, this is with normal lights on in the bedroom. See, standing over here. The menus on top are pretty simple. You have pretty direct arrow keys. So right now what we're going to do, we're just going to go ahead and jump over and check out the HDMI from the latest game system. Okay, so with all the lights off, honestly, this thing works really good. The controllers are PlayStation 1 style controllers. As you can see rolling through the menu here, we have plenty of different options. Now this is by far one of the better menus I've seen so far. See all the different game options it has here. Alright, so on this one I decided to test out the game God of War. Now God of War for the PSP is one of the harder games to emulate for most systems trying to run a PSP emulator. So right now we're just starting it up. First thing I'm going to note about the HomePal projector is this thing looks really good considering what it is. On top of that, the audio sounds loud. Is it the crispest, clearest thing in the world? No, but if you have this thing mounted on the ceiling or sitting across the room from you, you're going to hear it just fine. So let's go ahead and jump in and see how well this game runs. Also, just a quick takeaway. If you jump into this menu here, you can actually load and save states. So unlike original games, when you're running a lot of emulators, you have the ability to save the game exactly where you are sitting at any time. Also, something else to note, if you take a look in the top right corner, you'll notice that it has an FPS counter built right into the projector or the emulator. I'm actually not sure which one it's coming from, but it shows that we're running at 60 frames per second. Alright, so just the first thing to notice here, while we're actually getting into the game, you'll notice the frames are dropping down to about 15. Now given, this is a harder game to emulate, just keep that in mind, but the fact that it's running it at all is fairly impressive. Now while the frames per second is pretty low, this is more than playable. Especially when you mix it in with a cheap projector like this, you're talking about a $150 entire entertainment system for you, the kids, anybody else around. Honestly, this would be a lot of fun. I would be down for playing this. Alright, so just to go through a couple of the games this thing emulates, you got Virtual Boy, Nintendo 64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Pokemon Mini, Nintendo DS, 3DO, Open Bore, Adams, Sega 1000, that is old school. Then you have like the Sega Master System, the Mega Drive, the Genesis. There's a whole bunch in here, honestly. Got even the Game Gear up in this thing. Sega CD, Sega Saturn, Dreamcast. The list just goes on and on. Honestly, there's a lot more in here than I ever expected. All right, in true fashion, we're going to test out one more game here. We're going to test out Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo Entertainment System. See how it goes. Now, it looks like all this is ran off of a company called Kinhawk. First thing I'm going to notice right off the bat is the overall play speed seems to be correct. You'll notice that they actually took and resized the entire screen with some nice borders on the side to keep the original aspect ratio instead of stretching it out. If you want to play this game like back in the old days, this is one of the better ways to do it. The upscaling looks phenomenal. The colors are super crisp and clear. I think I'm gonna have to recommend this one and the projector. Overall, projector, I was running it at about a 70 by 40 inch screen, just on a painted wall. Nothing special at all. And the colors are fantastic on this thing. Now, there's not any talking points. They didn't pay me to review this, nothing like that. I just honestly think for the price, this thing is cool. Little lens cover there. I mean, it's just simple. I don't know a ton about the budget projector spaces, but considering the color accuracy in this thing and their claims that it's an LED projector, I've got no reason not to believe them. Honestly, super cool, Home Pal. Thanks for sending this over. Links will be down below. This is the emulator we tried out. This is called the X2 by Kinhawk. Super cool. It emulated some games that I've never seen on any other emulators. I took some time to test it out. This is what I was using on the projector and the footage you just saw. So we'll start with the basics here. 2 USB ports on the side. It does come with PS2 style remote controllers, like so. They have AAA batteries in the back and a USB dongle. So the USB dongle is used for the controllers because there's only 2 USB slots on the side. All of the games in the operating system are stored here on this micro SD card, which comes with a USB. What you do is you just slot it into the side, like so. Plug the other one in here. And then you can plug in both of your controllers into here. Controllers overall, they're pretty lightweight, but they work. They feel nice. Joysticks are pretty responsive. Nice clicks. I mean, they just worked. Can't really complain with that too much. It did come with its own remote control here. It allows you to do home, and there's a whole different operating system on here. You can add video and do all sorts of stuff. Basically, I believe this is a type of Android box, but they call it the X2 Super Console. And even in games like God of War for the PSP, it handled it. Sure, it was dipping down to like 15 to 20 FPS, but that's a really hard game to emulate. The amount of systems, games, and everything, this so far has to be one of my favorite emulators. And no, nobody sent this to me. I bought all these because I really want to test them out. I find this whole world of emulators super interesting. This is a really nice, easy, simple way to do it for a pretty reasonable price, in my opinion. On that note, this is going to have to be my pick for the video. Let me know down below what you guys think about this one here and if this is something you would consider buying. Also, don't forget to go check out this HomePal projector. If you're looking for a really cheap, nice projector, I mean, it's bright, it's clear, it's crisp, and it's easy to use. Check out the links below. I appreciate you guys for stopping in, and we'll see you in the next one.